everything what we discuss in the Pure Land, in all these different Pure Lands, in different environments, what in the Nirvana teaching said, those things. All this, the source of this, all of this is uncompounded. Source of everything is uncompounded. That is love. Now, what that means, source of all is uncompounded. What that uncompounded is?
Made of different things.
What?
Can't be broken down.
No.
It can't be divided.
Yeah, can be divided. But this all source of what's called uncompounded is. Now we're not looking outside. Now, of course, you're not also talking. Now, not looking. If I say simply, it's your mind. Your mind. Your nature of the mind, or my nature of the mind, is uncompounded. Uncompounded. Now, you can think, is your mind is compounded or uncompounded? you can debate with the Buddha now. Buddha summoned. And that's what they said. The Buddha summoned. Buddha said, nature, mind is uncompounded. Compounded. Nature of the mind. Your mind and everyone's nature is uncompounded. And then there's more explanation of this mind now. Uncompounded. Uncompounded means what actually? What?
Compounded?
Yeah,
Made up of other things?
that's true. Compounded means made of other things. Made of many combinations. Compounded. This is compounded. This all objects are compounded. Compounded. So it's uncompounded. Mind, nature of the mind, our mind is uncompounded. Compounded. Now moreover, turn the page. Next page, page 2. What is it here? Self-arising. That also saying self-arising. You ask, it's true? You ask that. That's what it is. It's uncompounded, self-arising. That means there's no any other factors, no any other conditions, causes, arise this. It's come. It's self. That's what called self-arising. Self-arising. Then, next again explaining more about this. Infinite. It's infinite. Now, mind, nature of the mind is infinite. That means your nature mind, my nature of the mind is infinite. Infinite. And what we call the infinite. Because mind is infinite. Nature of the mind is infinite. And then again moreover explain here. Next one is what? Inconceivables. Inconceivables. Also. This is what our beauty, we have this magic here now. This is inconceivable. And here also it is said to the inexpressibles. Inexpressible. So now mind is what? And then here moreover said, also within this nature there is no even labels, names of samsara nirvanas. Within this mind, nature of the mind, there is no name of the samsara, there is no names of the nirvana. Don't mention there is samsara and nirvana, even there is no names. That's what they say. Yeah. That is nature of the mind. Your nature of mind, my nature of the mind, that is, so it is uncompounded, it is self-arising, infinite, inconceivable, inexpressible, no even names and labels of this. Names of the samsara and nirvanas. So this is the source of everything. This is the source of everything. All the feelings, all the emotions are also arising from this. Love and compassion, wisdom, what we're talking, so spiritual, beautiful, is also arising from this. That everything what we talk, what we discuss, is all arising from this. And all is also merging there. Just merging. That's what's called is here said the vastness too. It's vastness. There's no crowded at all. No congestions. And yet there's no shortages. All arising. All coming. We never heard we had the shortage of consumptions. You heard anything? No, right? That's how the rich is. Rich is. And that's what this nature is. This is now, as the Dzogchen teaching is pointing to you, to us. This is what nature is, mind is. If we take care of this, we're taking care of everything. That's what it is. Really, if we take care of this, we're taking care of everything. In order to do this, then this meditation, practicing, all this bring calm and peace, a little bit more relaxing. Those are lined up to this nature. Carrying with the consumption through and going after each consumption, all that, then we are almost kind of like following our shadows, and then it makes tired, boring, and then we regulated that more and more things. It's like kind of like what's called kitties chasing the tails. That's it, going on and around. It's one's own. It just makes more tired. Maybe at the beginning it's quite good, fun. It makes you tired, boring. So this is what it is. And here, that's it, here's it. Knowing this, next third line, knowing this, suchness is Buddhahood. If you realize this nature, realize and abide in this nature, then what is? Buddhahood. That is Buddhahood. Or your way to the Buddhahood. Or your way to the nirvanas. And opposite of knowing, what is this? Then here's it. Unknowing. Beings, wonders, compulsories. Then when this means knowing, unknowing beings, then wandering in the samsaras. Samsara is one's own creation, display of this mind, as we said. It started with an unknowing, then grasping or ignorance, grasping, and then all those different emotions, then created all these massive things. It's kind of like we've carried by the nightmares. Carried it on and on. That. And we had this, we're wandering, and then our territories of the, generally it's called the samsara, but if samsara is kind of more specifically to highlight of the territorial way, how we wander in that, is called the three realms here. The next page says, may all beings of the three realms, that's it's called, three realms. Three realms are what? In Buddha's teaching, you say, desire realms, form realms, and formless realms. And in Buddha's teaching, I said that there's desire realms called realm of desires, and the realm of the forms, and formless, realm of formless. There's three realms, and we are in the desire realms. And what that means, the desire realm, in the teaching said, desire realm kind of beings are more desired to the sensory pleasure object with particularly such as male and female contracts. That is like very, very much desired. Whether who you are, what kind of forms you are, whether you are human beings, whether you are animals, or whatever forms you are kind of inclined with that contract pleasures or the desire, and that's what is known as desire realms. And then there's another realms that we don't see in the Buddha's teaching. another two realms. Two realms, those are the form realms and formless realms. Form realms are like, according to the teaching in the category, this is that we don't see, but they can be like God's realms. God is not the singular here, plurals. In high status of the living kind of like karmic situation, they called gods. There's many male gods, female gods, and so forth. Gods and so many beings, this, according to the teaching. And these realms, I have such beautiful poems said in the teaching. Their bodies are so beautiful. Beautiful. They are not also completely kind of like attached too much with the two together, so all kind of like that contractors. They have the every pleasures, not only that kind of contract to that. And their also forms are so beautiful. So therefore it is named as form realms. Those are gods. God's realms. There's another God's realm, those are formless realms. And those are, they don't have mental, physical body existing, but they are more like mental bodies. Mental body, and therefore is named as formless realms. So this, no matter whatever this kind of appearance they are, but still they are in samsara. Samsara. So, and that therefore, then here said, may all the beings of the three realms, all things. And then said, what wishing, Kuntuzangpo, the Buddha summoned the Bhaddara, what is wishing? Realized nature of the inconceivable source. That is the what wishing. Wishing here. Inconceivable source. What is this inconceivable source? It's again back to the nature of the mind. May everyone recognize, realize it, this meaning of the true nature of the mind. They realize this. This is the what this prayer is now. So that's the really about that sentence. The next one is then again is continually here, more teachings now continually. How now nirvana started. Nirvana is started. Again is the same source, but how the nirvana is started. And how Kuntuzangpo, or the Samanta Bhaddara Buddha, Samanta Bhaddara here, Kuntuzangpo also said here too, Kuntuzangpo, or is also named Buddha Samanta Bhaddara. Buddha Samanta Bhaddara, rich enlightenment. That's what here. Now, this is started with page 2, last lines. Furthermore, I, Kuntuzangpo, proclaims, he says, so that. But Kuntuzangpo, Buddha Samanta Bhaddara, according in the Buddha teaching or the Vajrayana teaching, Buddha Samanta Bhaddara or the Samanta Bhaddara is the Sanskrit name, and Kuntuzangpo is a Tibetan that translated Samanta Bhaddara into Tibetan as Kuntuzangpo. In both are generally the same. And Kuntuzangpo or the Buddha Samanta Bhaddara is, according to Vajrayana teaching, is the original Buddha, the first Buddha. That means generally in Buddhism there is so many Buddhas, male Buddha, female Buddhas, but Kuntuzangpo reached the Buddhahood at the very beginning times. And many times you say primordial times. Kuntuzangpo reached the enlightenment Buddha instantly at the beginning time, and that is known as, this Buddha is known as first Buddha. Original Buddha, first Buddha, and sometimes in Sanskrit called Adi Buddha, the original Buddhas. And so now here, said how Kuntuzangpo reached the enlightenment at the beginning times. And so that means at the very beginning time, we and the Kuntuzangpos are the same. We are all same. That means we all have the same nature. There's no different natures. As we have everyone as nature of the mind. Me, you, and everyone. And similarly, Kuntuzangpo, the Buddha Samanta Bhaddara, have the same nature. But we sentient beings are diluted, and the Kuntuzangpo undiluted, rich in enlightenment. How that happened? That is what he explained. And this is now, here, see, this nature, so here, so this is the, furthermore, I Kuntuzangpo proclaims. Then we move to the page 3, and here said, nature of the source of the free from the cause and conditions. Nature, the nature of the source is free from the cause and conditions. This nature is what? Again, same thing, going back to the nature of the mind. Nature of the mind is free from the cause and conditions. That explained at the beginning term here too. We said it is uncompounded, self-arising, same thing. So it's just we went before. So it's free from cause and conditions. And that nature, if you realize this nature, then you get enlightenment. If you didn't realize it, then we are diluted. So therefore, Kuntuzangpo, or the Buddha Sammadippada, immediately recognized that. And that is how it's happened again, I've talked a little bit more. That in the teaching said, at the very beginning time, nature is the same. We all have the equal nature. There's no really difference at all. But since the nature is free from the cause and conditions, but it has all the energies. Nature has all the energy. Again talking nature of the mind. Has all the energy. That's what called, because of that energy, is self-arising. Self-arising display comes. This self-nature, in the Dzogchen teaching said, this nature, actually nature of the mind, inherited, naturally inherited, the enlightenment. Is enlightened, already. What the enlightened qualities are known as 3 kayas, or 3 wisdoms. Wisdom of the Dharmakaya, wisdom of the Sambhokaya, wisdom of the Nirmakaya. These 3 potentials are residing spontaneously with your and my mind, nature of the mind, as well as for the Sammadippada too. So what is now, if I talk now these 3 kayas, again, if I talk more kind of simple way, what is Dharmakaya of the mind, of nature of the mind? Is when you look to the nature of the mind, if we look to our own, if you try to read our mind, your mind, if we say, where is your mind, or my mind? If we try to search your mind, you can't find anything. Can't find anything. That is known as in Buddhism, emptiness, many times using terminology emptiness. This emptiness is what that nature is open, free, total freedom, openness, vastness. That nature is called Dharmakaya wisdoms. That is, so we have Dharmakaya right now. Now that mind, this, even though we can't say anything, we can't find anything, but mind has energy. Energy. Energy is radiating energy. Clarity, sometimes it's clarity energy. This clarity energy of the mind, what we have, the kind of like brightness, is not like piece of object, piece of like furniture or piece of blank state. It has some radiated energy that we can feel, see. That is actually known as Sambhokaya mind. That is the richness. Mind is not blank status, empty state. It's full of rich, as we talked before. It's all the richness, everything comes from this. That potential is right there. This nature is, as I said again, Sambhokaya mind. Sambhogaya wisdoms. Because of that open, because of nature of Dharmakaya is so open, so vastness, so empty in a way, openness, and this energy is like so vibrated and so is there in that. Because of that combination, then there is a rising mind that we can see. Oh, this is good, that's bad. Oh, this is nice. I mean, all these minds are, these thoughts are arising. This is known as, in the Dzogchen teaching, Namakaya mind. This is Namakaya wisdom, actually. This is enlightened status. Now I say these three things, like empty, clarity, arising energy, but rapidly, vividly arising energy. Even there's three things I mentioned that, but in reality they are not separated. All is in all. All is the same. It's nothing that we can divide it three pieces, different objects, places. All is the same. That is known as union of the three kayas. Inseparably. Inseparable union. This is our nature of the mind, your nature of the mind. Because of that, we can get enlightenment. We can reach, become the Buddha. We can make the change. It's all comes from us, and we can make the change as we want, as we need. It could take some time, but it will make. No, it's true. It could take sometimes, but in Dzogchen teaching said you can do change within 12 years. Really, if you put the joyful effort, devotion, you settle. There's so many great masters really achieve that, but then it takes time sometimes. That's it. So this is called the source, the ordinary nature. Now I talk to go back to the Kuntuzangpo. When this nature arises, that energy is that arises rapidly arise. that happened to Kuntuzangpo, the Buddha Samantabhadra, and to us happening. When Kuntuzangpo, when that happened, immediately Kuntuzangpo recognized it is his or her own display. He didn't, or he or she, this Buddha Samantabhadra, didn't make any distractions as subject or objects. Immediately didn't put the labels. Immediately recognized its displays. That moment, the whole games changed. Okay? And then known as become the Buddha. Instantly become the Buddha. That moment. He instantly become the Buddha. Fully awakened. You see, this is the own display. That as the moment is arise, that moment he discovered or he realized this display, and that moment everything is transcended, changing everything, every show or every display, and become the Buddha. Buddha Samantabhadra or Kuntuzangpo. But what we sentient beings, that when that arises, we didn't recognize immediately, we labeled as subject and object. That explained it later here too. And then we started wondering, can it be as nightmare, for example, when we had nightmare, dream, if we recognize this is our own dream, that will be stopped very soon, that nightmare. If we didn't recognize that, we struggle with that, nightmare goes on. These same things. Then that how this. So here, that is the, I highlight now the meaning that, so that now nature of this, the source is, and now we go back to the page 3 again. Page 3, the source is realized by spontaneously arising awareness. Spontaneously arising, and when it arises at that, what the Buddha Samantabhadra did here is not named by arrows and exaggeration such as inside, outside. He didn't label, or Buddha Samantabhadra, she or he, didn't label at all. Immediately recognized that. It was not obscured by this here. Said next one. It is not obscured by the darkness of the mindlessness. It's not this. Clearly see it is self-display of your own nature. Nature. Since the nature is never obscured at the beginning time, never obscured. Nature is fresh, pristine, and clean, unobscured, and so it is always remain in the next line. Is cultivated this fresh, pristine awareness all the time. It is. This is what the Buddha Samudabhadra or the Kuntuzangpo realized. When you have these realizations, since it is realization, no matter whatever the external things happening, there is nothing really need to be scared or afraid. There's nothing kind of going, anything changes at all. It's all display. It's all display. As in the dream, whatever shows comes up, reality, nothing is happening. It's all display of the dream. Same thing. So then we move continually. If you remain in that pristine realization status, then as Buddha Samudabhadra reach enlightenment, then here's next page. And then there's unattached to the 5 objects of the sensory pleasures. That also since you're not attached, 5 sensory pleasure object is not become obstacles to you or the hindrance to you. For those reasons, in Vajrayana teachings, that there's nothing to be give up, nothing to be rejected, nothing to be accepted. All is fine. If we didn't attach it there. And what are the 5 objects of the the 5 objects of the sensory pleasures? What are those?
Food.
Yeah.
Wealth.
Good. That's good.
Wealth.
That's it. Wealth.
Companionship.
What?
Companionship.
Companionships.
Clothes.
Clothes? Of course. True. Really true. All is true. All is true. Soccer balls. Soccer balls. That's true. Soccer balls and golf. And all these things. So if you relax on the pristine in this natural status, then everything is great. It's all fine. But this 5 pleasure object is actually also we kind of go more official in the Buddhism. Then is related with the 5 senses. What are 5 senses? That's it. 5 senses. Yeah. 5 senses. So that is the eye senses, ear senses, nose senses, tongue senses, and then body senses, and then sometimes also named 6 senses, mind. That. But here say the 5, so we stay with 5. So what are the now? So those are senses. Object of 5 senses. What are those? Those are the pleasure objects. Pleasure object. So eye senses the pleasure object is beautiful forms, no matter whatever that is, beautiful forms. Air senses object, pleasure object, the air senses is beautiful musics, beautiful songs, whatever that is. And then the pleasure object of the nose senses is fragrance, delicious fragrance, that is. And the object of the pleasure object of the tongue senses is then delicious, yummies, gourmet foods. Those all things, really, all these things is tongue, and of course then it will eventually will be tummy too. Is yummy to the tummy. Eventually it ended up to the yummy tummy. And then pleasure objects of the